everyone, Jaimunji here, and I am back. It's been a little while with Dominic. Don't call him Commander from Cypecore. How are you today, mate?
That's fucking right. I'm very good now that you said it right. Do
Yes.
not call me that.
I'm going to put a little insert here of last time that happened, and you should have seen how red I went. Like the beard's red enough. I think it all blended together. That was quite funny, actually. I remember that clear as day. How
Well,
are
not
you?
for me. I'm good. I'm good, man. What about you? Are you
Yeah,
good?
I'm good. I'm good. I was going to put the armor on. I've made my own like home shift Cypecore armor. I was going to put it on
You
today,
did
but
not.
no, I didn't.
Oh
No.
my God. Bro, we have those in Germany, I swear to God.
Oh,
We play
really?
shows and they show up in armor and they sometimes look cooler than we do, and I'm like, fuck man, we have to step up our game. Damn.
I could do it. My big fear is like because it lights up. I'm like, how am I going to get the battery pack over to Wacken next year to see you
I
guys
can bring you
perform again?
batteries, that's not a problem.
Oh, well, okay, all right. Sounds like a bit of a
We have
challenge,
we
but
have
yeah.
a deal. We have a deal.
All right, all right. What will my Sitecore name be? If you've got Commander, the mechanic, what would mine be?
I don't know, man. What
Yeah.
about the brute?
Oh, the
The
brute.
brute.
Oh, I like it. I like it. I think you're blowing me up a little bit here, making me feel good. I'm going to blush in a second, but
Really?
yeah, yeah, we could do that. But
Sounds
mate,
about right.
yeah, look, very exciting news. I was doing the the Wacken Advent calendar. There we go. I can speak English. The other day, and I'm swiping on the names, and lo and behold, Cypecore comes up. How exciting that you get to
Hell
play!
yeah. Yeah,
This is
again, yeah, it's an honor, man, actually. And they kind of promised it when we were doing the announcement show, and they were like, yeah, we'll forward it to the booking staff, and then usually they end up doing what we say, and we were like, yeah, for sure, for sure. And then it actually happened. I was like, yes, dude, we're going back to Wacken.
how was it to play that opening? Because you played on well, you played in between the main stage. Not everyone gets to do that, so that's a nice little touch. How was that? How was that experience?
Bruh, it was like the most nerve-wracking 5 minutes of my life. It was not even funny. Getting up there was a challenge because I can't really see well or move well, and there was like this much space between like lights and stuff on the stages. And then we went there, and I have a feeling that nobody really saw that we were there and we were playing, but you can see us on the video sometime a little bit and be like, yeah, that's me. I'm there. I'm actually there singing to 85,000 people. No big deal. I almost shit my pants. Yeah, it
It's
was
what
kind of nerve-wracking, but very cool. Very cool, actually.
it's a big experience because they've got the big drone show, they've got everything going off. They cut the
I
songs together
didn't
real time.
realize that that was going on, dude. Had I seen that above me, I'd probably freaked out. Like,
It was good, and it was good to see. If you haven't seen it, don't watch the actual live stream version of. Watch the YouTube put together, cut by Vacuum, because the live stream was just pointing at the sky the whole time, even if nothing was happening. So I watched it live. I'm like, I can hear Dom, I can't see Dom. But then a couple of days later, they put out that awesome cut showing, the aliens chasing the Wasteland Warriors, and then cut you screaming, and then cut back. It was very cool experience. Vakken, I think they know what they're doing at this point in time when it comes to putting on a bit of a show. I think 30 odd years of
oh yeah.
experience. I think they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing.
There's an actual person that is just in charge of that show.
Oh
So he
wow.
was doing we actually got there a day prior, and when the festival day had finished at like 3 a.m., they they escorted all the guests off of the festival grounds, and we actually rehearsed that the day prior. So
Oh,
at like 3 a.m. at night, we did the practice, and then on Saturday we did the live show. So just it's all just very top secret, and like people were escorted off the premises so we could be in peace. And it's like top secret. You don't know. And even when we did the rehearsal, they blurred the bands on the flyer so that nobody could actually see what was on the line. It was like very, very secretish, and it was like it felt like being an agent in like a spy movie or something. It was like actually crazy, very crazy.
that's cool. I was going to ask you. I was like, did you know what was going to come up above you? Like you said, you
No,
couldn't see, but you had no idea. It was like you're
no,
singing your song, and it's like Machine Head, Gojira, like Papa Roach, like.
we were just a small cog in like a big German Ur, like a big clock tower, and but it was an honor, and everybody was so cool about it, and I think it looked kind of cool, and we actually got to do something that only very few people on this world ever got to do. So I'm very happy about that. I'm very proud we did that, and I'm still kind of in shock that it even happened because let's be real, they could have asked any band and they choose us for whatever reason. But we're super happy and grateful.
Well, I
Now we
don't
get
know.
to play.
I was going to say, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Like they're going, oh, we're going for a sci-fi alien theme, but we kind of want the Mad Max theme at the same time. What local, German artist can we pull in? I really can't think of anyone else besides Cypecore to come in for that, man. Like I think you guys were kind of a match made in heaven for it.
True, true, true.
Yeah. Now, before we get into some of the stuff about, you've had the new album and everything out this year, I want to ask because will be the third time playing Wacken, or is this the second time?
I think it's the third time. We played 2017, if I recall correctly, and then 2 years ago, and then
Yeah.
next year.
Yeah,
So,
because I remember on the 2003 lineup, it was like Cypecore first time. I was like, I swear to God, there's shots in the music video of you guys playing on the
oh
Wasteland
yeah,
stage. Yeah, yeah. So I was like, they just forgot, but that's okay. They've had a few bands come and go since then. So yeah,
yeah.
what's the experience like now? Because a lot of festivals are different all around the world. Australia, we only ever do 1 day festivals, so it's very much you load in. You're on the plane, you go to the next city. What's Wacken like? Let's pretend you're playing the Thursday or the Friday. Do you load in that day? Do you get in earlier? What's the whole experience like for you as an artist playing a festival like Wacken?
It probably depends, but they are usually made for setting up early, especially if, like a headliner would arrive with their nightliners even maybe the day prior and
Mm.
then set up early before the festival grounds open and soundcheck, and then play later and then move on in the nightliners. For a smaller band like us, um, we have two options. We could either come in a couple days early and hang around at the festival and then play the day of the show and then fuck off, But it depends. You have to be there until you have to be there at a specific time so you can make the gig. You have to get checked in, get your accommodations and stuff, and then just have enough time to set up and play the show. And that's your responsibility to get there in time. And you either come for the day of the show and set up and play and then have a sleepover in the hotel and then move on, whatever, or you stay there the whole week on your own like time and just be there in a tent and just camp.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you were there last time, it was the muddiest it could have ever have been. Did you get around much, or did you kind of like try and stay as dry as possible?
Actually, when we played, there was like sun was out and the ground was dry. So we played on Thursday, and I think Tuesday the rain got so bad that they actually stopped allowing people on the ground. So it was like the first time ever that they had like some kind of emergency plan that they towed people onto the flooded fields
Yeah.
so that they could be on there. I was like, wow, that sounds terrible. And once we got there, it was like, huh, it's sunny. There's actual ground that is not flooded, and I was like, whew, that could have gone a whole lot worse. So we were actually kind of, fortunate that we had good weather. But I
Yeah.
think we've never actually played when it rained, like ever.
Ah, really? Like it kind of, I
Maybe
reckon
once.
it would fit the kind of the whole look of you guys if you had the rain pouring over the crowd at the same time while you're up on that
Yes, but do
stage.
you really want to stay in the rain and watch a band play? I don't think so. So
Yeah, no, I don't know. I recently went to the Good Things Festival in Australia, and in Sydney it rained for about half the day, and in Brisbane it was 42 degrees Celsius. And I'm sitting there going, I don't know, man. I remember being in the rain going, I'd put the heat over this, and then I'm in the heat the next day. I'm like, I'm not sure anymore, man. I need that German
always what you
weather.
don't have.
I need that German weather when everyone's complaining that, oh my God, it's 27, 28 degrees, it's boiling hot. I'm like, oh, this is a cool summer's day in Australia. What are you
Yeah,
talking
but
about?
to be fair, it's kind of it's very like humid in
Yeah.
Germany. I don't know if you guys have that in Australia, but
In Sydney, not all the time. In Brisbane, yes. It was
oh,
85% humidity. So it was very,
ooh,
yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. Brisbane is like
that's like
give you an idea, it's the Florida of Australia. Anyone from Brisbane watching this, don't blow up at me. You know it's true.
I'm gonna get there one day. But yeah, I
Yes,
hope I answered that question sufficiently
you
because
did.
that's you get there, you play the show, and then you pack up and leave.
Yeah, no, that's
That's usually how these go.
yeah, no, I always wonder because you never know with something like that, and especially like you mentioned, the tractors dragging people in. I was lucky to get in before that started happening on the bus from the airport, so yay
Oof.
me, yeah, yay me for that one. So that was very good. But
What
mate,
was it? Yay, you though? I mean, was it fun on there the first 2 days?
Yeah, I had fun.
Can imagine.
I had fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No.
had fun. Like it wasn't like I was getting a bit nervous when the main stage was meant to open at midday, and then it was 2 p.m. And nothing was open yet. I'm like, oh, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, you could hear All for Metal playing before they let anyone into the holy ground. But then they kind of just let the gates open and everyone just started running. I'm like, I ain't running, man. If I fall over, that's going to ruin my whole week being covered in mud. And then I see people diving into the mud. I'm like, all right, so that's how it goes here. Okay, like
Yeah, no, no, no.
yeah,
Nah.
yeah, not for
Some people
me.
get excited.
Hey, look, I travel a long way, man. Like I wasn't going to spend the next 8 hours in a shower getting mud out from my nose. So yeah, I definitely. I will say though, I love the people over there because at one point I fell backwards and it was like Smooth Criminal in the Michael Jackson video. I went completely back and I didn't even hit the ground. I came back up because my feet stayed in the mud, and I was like, very thankful for that. So good hospitality over in good old Germany. I
Yeah.
appreciated it. Yeah.
Sometimes they saved you.
Yeah, yeah. It was good. It was good. But mate, you had the new album out this year. How have you enjoyed playing those songs live? Because I know you've been working on them for a long time. I didn't even realize you guys kind of had that secret version of "I'll Be Back" on that little thumb drive way before the single even came out. You
Oh yeah, yeah.
cheeky buggers. That was clever.
That was the catch, sort
Yeah.
of, with that box, because we did that box when I think it was the tour post COVID,
Mm.
what, like 2022, I think. Like when the world got back, and we had that song, and we were like, we need something like spicy to make the box worth the whatever the premium was. I think it was like $50, and
Yeah.
we said, we are going to make a record, and there's gonna be a flash drive on there with the song off of the new record, like 4 years ago. I don't know when that came out, like maybe 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
So that was the kind of the catch with that one. So interesting now.
Yeah.
Imagine how interesting that was back then. And I think, like, seriously, that not a lot of people actually put that thing in and actually checked out the song, because it was like, huh? How would you expect that there's something on there? It was just plug it in. Is there like a spoken message on there too? Because I think I did
Yeah.
record something.
Yeah,
Be
you
like,
did.
thank you for whatever is your support, blah blah. I'm the commander, and I think we did something like that. Yeah, it's just like a marketing gag, or like for a special uh, show of validation or appreciation towards the fans that like really support the band, and there was that. Yeah. And playing live, I must say, we did play King of Rats once. Fucking bombed. It was terrible. Nobody enjoyed it, so we never played it again. I'll Be Back is very nice live. But the two best ones are Neoteric Gods and Patient Zero. Patient Zero is a lot of fun
Yeah.
live. Dude, that thing, it rips.
I kind of
It's
want to hear
very fun.
that. I want to hear that over the loudspeaker because you've almost got that hard style drop in the in the
Oh
like.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's the best because it's so it's just cinema, because everybody on stage, we just freeze, and I'm like yelling at people. I'm like, move, and just spread my arms and just watch people being like overwhelmed and not knowing what to do. And then some people start dancing, and then everybody just does something. It's so weird. It's so fun. I love that moment, man. It's crazy. And then of course we come back with the breakdown, and then they go mosh, and it's a lot of fun.
well, I look forward to hearing that live. Like, it's a shame about King of Rats, but in all fairness, I think I remember looking back on the set list. I think you played that song live before it was even released, so you didn't get people the chance to learn the song, Dom. Like they've got to learn
That's
the
true.
song.
That's
Yeah,
that is kind of true. But we have a lot of material at this
yeah,
point, and we spoke a little in private earlier, because I think that there's like two song types that we have. We have like more of a more mellow, like sing along type of song, and the more like a rowdy, go mosh and go crazy kind of song. And I think overall the latter is more appreciated by the fan.
yeah.
But you also need a couple sing along to like calm yourself and just be able to have like a breather inside the set. So we'll always play like one or two of these, and then just, bash your head in for another half an hour, and then we leave the stage. But you have to choose carefully with the set list these days, because we have 5 records now, and one EP, and you can't play everything. I mean, everybody's always like, you didn't play my favorite song. I was like, yeah, well, you know why? Because I knew that that's your favorite song, and I hate you, and I didn't want you to enjoy the show. That's why I didn't. It's
That
like,
well, that's
we
what
can't play them all, dude.
yeah, that's where I think, and it's like I'm in my mid 30s now, and I'm like, people are like, oh, I wish I played all these songs. I'm like, I kind of do, but at the same time, if you guys were up there playing for 3 hours, I'd be like, I love yous, but can we wrap it up? Like,
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to sit down and watch Lord of the Rings every single day. Sometimes I just want my 80-minute action film. Go in, go out. I'm happy. I don't always need a 3 hour epic. Like sometimes
I
you
mean,
just gotta appreciate that.
on tour, we played 18 songs. Could you imagine?
And you're
People were just dead after an hour, and we were going for another 40. I was like, oof. I mean, it's
dude,
uh, it's getting exhausting.
dude, that's rough because you're not like a band like Green Day where if they played 18 songs, that's 50 minutes of their set because they're all 2.5
No,
minutes long.
I
You're
think
like,
it's an hour and 36 minutes, and I never talk in between, so there's no like, there's no drama happening. It's just always like songs. You're always listening to music. You're never having a 10-minute speech or a drum solo or never whatever. It's just nothing of that. It's just music the whole time, and there's no breaks. We
how
didn't even leave the stage and have them chant like one more song. We didn't do that. We just play it and we left.
you got to leave the people wanting more, mate, at the end of the day. That's the whole idea. But it's interesting you say that. Now, you do it in a different way. Now, you mentioned you don't talk, but that's not due to like anxiety or shyness. Because I've seen bands live where they don't have a gimmick and they're just not talking in between songs, corn. Yeah, it's just interesting the way you do it. But you are pausing for dramatic effect during some of these songs. You are kind of like commanding, pardon the pun, commanding the
Yeah, no,
crowd in a certain way between the songs. How difficult was that to kind of convey when you first started in the band? Because you are the second vocalist
very.
after all. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, getting to learn that was um it's an unusual thing because
Mm,
I always get the habit of trying to be the funny guy and talk a lot. But then again, I also get caught up in my own words, and it just doesn't look really professional. I don't have the charisma of like an Ollie Sykes or somebody like of that, magnitude, and then it just makes sense to not have me talk too much, especially with the stark contrast of the dark music and the dark image, and then have somebody be like, "Hey, what's up, guys? We are Cypecore. It's so good to see you. We have merch over there. This next song is called." It just doesn't fly. We're like a sci-fi metal concept, whatever. We're all dead in 2023 after a world war,
yeah.
nuclear fallout global scenario, and then there's just this happy guy talking on stage. It just doesn't match. So it was weird at first, but I feel like I grew into it, and now it's part of my stage persona, I would say. Even when I play cover gigs or something, I'm like very just present. I don't have a better word for it. I'm not jumping around. I'm not fucking around. I'm just, singing my song, being like stationary and just look like intimidating. That's what I do.
I've
Or
seen it.
try to do at least.
I've seen it a couple of times pop up in your Instagram stories where you've jumped on a stage for like to join a band or a mate's band in a song, and you do. It doesn't it does help the fact that you are quite taller than most people as well. So you get up on stage and kind of come up and you're like, "Ugh," big hand up, and then you kind of pull away. It's like, oh, Dom came in, just crushed that part, and then Dom disappeared. Like it's
Yeah.
cool. Like it works. It works at the end of the day.
I just don't want to like push myself upon people when I get the honors of joining a band. For example, I played a song with Vola recently on
Mm.
their tour. And they have a song where they featured Anders Frieden of In
Ah,
Flames, and I sang that part on a show in Munich to 600 people, and I was like so nervous. They gave me like a body pack for the in-ear sound so I could hear myself, and I just sang the song, and then I left. I hugged them and left because I was like, I can never say anything to make this, better for
yeah,
the band. So I just didn't say anything and just left.
yeah.
Sang the part and left. People enjoyed it. It was great, but I could never be like, "Thank you, Munich, so much." Blah blah. It's so good to be here.
It's kind of one of those things. It's like a good cameo in a movie. It's kind of like, oh, they're here and then they're gone. I remember seeing a clip recently of Phil Bosman joining Lorna Shore on stage for Into the Earth. He just walks out, picks up a microphone, crushes it, then gently puts the microphone on the ground, and then just walks backstage. Nothing said
That
about it.
that
It's
sounds
just,
like him.
yeah, yeah. He's a very different guy who makes some very fun noises that I really do appreciate. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
It's one
yeah,
of those ones. Yeah,
the Bozeman is a very legendary vocalist. He
yeah.
he was he started it off kind of.
He really did. And then the motherfucker came out and sung like an angel. And I was like, you can't do both, man. You can't sound like you do in Whitechapel and then have a song like When a Demon Defiles a Witch or Lost Boy, where you almost turn into Maynard from Perfect Circle when you come in with your harmonies echoing back and forth. I'm like, prick, like, you make us all look bad. Like, what are you doing?
No, I mean, but it's very cool that he
Yeah.
even having the guts to go there after the Suicide Silence fiasco. I think it was a very ballsy move, but he did it so well.
Mm,
If it's when it's not cheesy, and it doesn't, uh, deter from the fact that you're actually a great singer and it's used well in the song. I'm all for it, man. Man has a great voice. He uses it well. It actually made the song better, in my opinion. So why not go
I
for it,
agree.
man? Just do not shelter yourself from trying new things because it's art. Just express
Exactly.
yourself.
Exactly. And this is where we segue into talking about you because you've experimented a bit more on the Make Them Real album with a bit more clean vocals and pushing that range. You have done some stuff in the past like spirals, and there have been some softer singing parts or some cleaner parts, but not as much as there were on this album, like King of Rats, for example, Make Me Real. You really kind of push the boundaries. And I think a lot of people forget that that is almost harder than screaming. Once you've learnt to scream, it's kind of hard to scream off key, if you know what I mean. But when you get there live and you got to belt out the ballad and you've been screaming all night, that can be daunting at the same time. But what kind of gave you that? All right, make me real, which the title track, brilliant lyrics, brilliant song. What made
Thank
you
you.
want to put that forward? No, and I really mean it. And I'll never forget that. Sorry, I didn't tell you about the world. Is just one of my favorite lines of all time in any song. Not to embarrass you, but it's
That
really well written.
Thank you. That came together nicely indeed. I must say I'm very proud of that song. I don't know, man. I've been singing for like close to 20 years now.
Yeah,
And I've just always been singing cleanly, but not for Cypecore per se. And we just tried it out, and we did the demo. It sounded good, so we just put it on the record. I mean, it was one of the stronger songs of the record, in my opinion. People like it, so why not? Just throw a curveball in there. Just fuck around and find out. It's the best
yeah.
you can do. Just finish the song, put it out, see what people think about it. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it, but nothing
Yeah.
crazy. So it's you know, evolution is the name of the game.
Yeah, and being the kind of band you are, where you've kind of evolved to these cyborg, like things, the evolution kind of makes sense. But it obviously worked well, and you guys liked it in the band because it became the title track. Was there any other working title tracks for that album, or when you wrote the song "Make Me Real," did that just kind of be like, "Nah, that seems to be the way we're going to go with this one"?
Not really. It just came by coincidence. We had the song for a very long time before the record was finished. I think it was like the third song that got finished. And our tour manager one day just came in. We hadn't had a title for the record in that point, and he was like, "Why don't we just call it Make Me Real?" And then we were like, "You know what? Why not, dude? It makes sense." And then it just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. No, look, it worked out well. And I think I'm always a big fan of bands having the title of the album be a track on the album because it obviously means something to the band at a certain point, or maybe even kind of sets tone as a record because you're not just writing songs about, an ex-girlfriend or something like that. You do have purpose in how you write. Is that ever difficult to be like, I need to write with purpose, or does it make it easier when you're like, when I'm writing for Cypecore, this is the theme that the songs need to be in? Like, does that make it easier or harder? Do you ever feel limited, or do you feel a bit more creative because you can kind of, how do I craft my personal story into a song that would fit for Cycle? Because Make Me Real definitely feels like there's some personality to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, bit of both, to be
Yeah.
honest, because it is simple in a way because there is a framework that I have to operate in, so I know kind of what to go for and what I can say and how I am supposed to say it. But then again, it also makes it harder when it's about stuff that just doesn't fit into that kind of framework. So,
Mm.
for example, the Make Me Real is it's a very personal song about my relationship to my father and how passing on knowledge to the next generation and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
we kind of had to make that work for the theme. And then we came up with this weird like sci-fi idea that I would time travel and find my own corpse and sing to him that I'm sorry I didn't tell him about the world, you know, make it like kind
Oh,
of weird and crazy. But it also kind of made sense because you're talking to yourself and you couldn't save that thing, person, whatever, and it kind of translates to, you know, imagine your son dying
yeah.
and just replacing that with, you know, the time travel sci-fi thing. It's just it's the same thing but outside of the framework. So having those parallels, you know, just it's not that obvious at first, but when you hear what it's about, it kind of makes sense what I wrote. But then again, it has to be like universally applicable. So everybody that hears the song and reads the lyrics has to have the possibility to just make their own story out of these like words. And that is the challenge with writing for Cypecore because I'm sure that everybody that heard the song has some kind of connection to it and has their own version of what it means to them,
Mm.
but it's not the way I intended it, or probably not. And that's perfect. That's beautiful. That's what we want. We
No,
want everybody to find their truth in our songs. So
well, that's beautiful
be a part
because
of the alliance.
I like we did there. It's one of those ones too, because I came up with my own meaning for it. I listened to it. I'm like, okay, to me, and I thought about the gimmick at the same time. I was like, okay, is this like you're talking to a child that you've sheltered for the longest time? And it can be like, is this world, like, let's be real, it's a fucking horrible place sometimes. And it's kind of like you're hiding it. And then, you know, that child goes out in the real world, especially as a teenager. We can shelter kids for so long. Then when they get to high school, they really see how mean the world can truly be. And it's kind of like, yeah, it's kind of, I'm sorry, you know, I sheltered you for so long. I didn't prepare you for that toughness, and then it hits harder. So I kind of, and with the gimmick of the sci-fi, you think of a show or a game like Fallout, it's kind of like you're hiding in this little bunker, and it's like, whoop, yep, sorry I didn't tell you there's this horrible world full of, you know, monsters and evil people out there. So I was like, it tied to the gimmick, and that's it. That's the way I got it. But it's interesting ways people can interpret songs, and I think that's a beautiful thing about a well-written song is because if it touches, like it means something to someone else. I just say it touches people. Let's not touch people, but if it means something to someone else, it's just it's a beautiful thing. And the fact that you can do that, it just kind of really shows you as an artist know kind of what you're doing. And like I said, try not to embarrass you too much, but it's yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and I think it shows heavily on the album as well because there are some fun points, and this is a heavy album at the same time. When I show people, make them real, and then you know, like Patient Zero or something comes on, they're like, "Shit, this band's heavy." I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I forgot to mention that part." Like,
We have that in us as well, yeah. I mean, some people complain that the old stuff was better, you know, because they liked it more because it was simpler and more forward and like heavier all the time. But then again, you know, we're pushing 40, and how long can you be angry and yelly? I mean, even Slipknot have a track record of being more mellow in their 30s and 40s. So I think it is, you know,
yeah, I,
you
I
can you can excuse us for doing that.
I think every band needs to do that. Could you imagine if Slipknot still sounded like the first two albums? You'd be like, "Dude, go to therapy already. Like, calm down."
I would love that. I would love
Oh
that,
yeah,
man. Actually,
don't get me wrong. And Vended feels that way a little bit. Oh my god, that guy sounds
oh
exactly
yeah.
like his father. Like, yeah,
It,
he's a clone.
how coincidental is that, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's bizarre too because I think about it, I was like, I don't sound vocally anything like my old man. So how did what is it, Griffin Taylor? Griffin sound exactly like his father? I don't know. I guess if you grow up around it, you start to mimic it. And that's how you learn.
Yeah.
And that's how I wanted to look at the segue. You'd think I've interviewed someone before, but the segue is how do you learn how to scream? Like we all know, you know, learning to sing, you practice, do singing lessons. Screaming's not quite as easy to get into that whole thing. There's videos now and there's
True.
tutorials now and there's you can join a Facebook group. But I'm sure when you started, MySpace was still a thing, right? No one was putting screaming tutorials on MySpace. So how did you find your
No.
voice?
Interesting that we talk about that right after that gateway because I had tried to mimic Corey Taylor for the
Ah,
longest time. I actually just lots of car rides. Actually, my day job is being a field technician for a field service technician for a German railway company, and I drive around a lot and fix stuff. So I put on music, I sing along, and I relatively early in my 20s, I got classical singing lessons from a admittedly not so great teacher at first, but it was good enough so I would get the basics of like belly breathing and stuff like that down. And, just over time developed a style. And then realizing when I first started with Cypecore in 2014 that my technique was terrible. And then I had to fix that by getting more lessons and,
Yeah.
practice even more. And it's just a constant process of kind of calibrating your instrument because your body changes over time. And
Yeah.
my voice kind of dropped by like a semitone or something. So my voice got darker over time, and I have to like get used to that and find technical ways to work around that. And it's a constant process. So
Mm.
being in shape,
Yep.
being on top of the vocal stuff, like being trying to stay in like a habit of doing technical practice, like getting your vowels right and doing your breathing exercises and stuff like that, and then just have fun with it. Try not to lose the fun because I was on kind of a vocal slouch this year and last year where I just didn't have fun singing and I just really stopped practicing. And then it can, when it turns into a job that you have to do, you kind of lose interest and fun, and it's not so great to do it. But luckily that passed, and now I'm, back on the practice train. Just
That's
started out somewhere and tried to imitate singers, and then just fucked around and found out that I was doing some things wrong, some things right, and then just adjusted. It's just a lot of trial and error. Being a vocalist is a lot of trial and error, mostly error, but then
yeah.
you fix them.
Every now and then you'll go, oh, that noise sounded all right and it didn't hurt me. Maybe I'm doing
Yeah.
that part right. Because I remember when I first started doing it, it's funny. And I'm trying to get over it myself, getting back in the vocals. I've got the false chord down. I can do that. I've lost my fry scream. I live, I used to be able to like howl like Danny Filth. It's gone. I don't know where it went. I don't know if I can get it back because, like you say, getting deeper over time. I think as my chest has expanded over the years and my head's gotten bigger as I'm getting older, everything's sounding a bit more deeper and bassy. So maybe I just ride with that, see how it goes. But maybe I can get that fry back. Maybe I can crack out a scream or two one day again.
I think we should get that back for you.
Yeah,
It's probably not too far away. But adding to that, I kind of hate when people come to me and are like, "Oh, you're such a talented vocalist," and I'm like, "Yeah, talented my ass, dude. I've been practicing for 20 years, dude. You practice something for 20 years, you're good. You're probably good too.
yeah.
And if not, maybe you did something wrong."
Yeah, no, yeah, you're spot on. It's kind of like driving a car, and eventually, you've done it for so long that you're like, oh, this is easy. But when you first get behind, especially in a manual car, and you're starting and stopping and jamming it the whole time, it's just life. Everyone would like to, and I call it. I don't know if you remember that '90s movie Space Jam. Everyone just kind of wants to get the basketball and steal someone else's talent without putting in the work for it. And don't get me wrong, if Phil Bosman ever came near me and I had that ball, poor Whitechapel, but it is one of those practice makes perfect kind of situations at the end of the day.
It does because especially for metal vocals,
Yeah,
everybody can do it. Like for real. It's not a secret tech or something. Everybody can learn it. You just have to practice.
yeah,
Like
that's it.
religiously.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to practice. But you can get it down, man. You could be the best metal vocalist in the world in like 5 years. You just have to like get your ass down and practice.
And it's funny that you say the word religiously too, because I've always gone, what's it mean when someone says you need to practice religiously? And then you walk through the town, you see people on their days off trying to give you pamphlets to sign up and, go to their church. I'm like, oh, that's what they mean. Be relentless with it. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah. No, no,
Just
we
have it be
did.
sacred. Be like etched in stone. Like you have to do this.
Yes, yes.
Before you go to bed, you do your practices. You go do your mame mimo moves and then you go to sleep.
I've done that with the Extreme Vocal Institute and his little warm ups at the. I think it's
Oh yeah, he's the man. David James Benitez, shout out. He is the best teacher in the game, hands down, man. That man has saved my life.
yeah, yeah, and someone's a good singing or vocal coach when they sound like every word they say is in key because he almost sings every word he talks when he speaks in these instruction
Oh
videos.
yeah.
It's like, oh, and then we're going to. I'm like, okay, yeah,
Oh
he's
yeah.
talking in key. He knows what he's doing.
The thing with him is I had a vocal lesson with him, like a one-on-one,
Mm,
and he explains things to you, and you just reconsider like why do you do this? Like why am I stupid? Why it's so obvious. He just points out a little thing, and you're like, yeah, I know that too, and I'm just dumb. I didn't figure it out. And he's like Yoda, man. You're just
yeah,
you're just talking to him, and he just I'll try this, try that, and you're like, it works. I'm healed.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can walk again. It's crazy, dude. Working with that man is fucking nuts. It's like
He,
it's voodoo
yeah.
magic. It's actually insane, man.
He knows exactly what he's doing. I was talking to Brendan from Atreyu the other day, and he was talking about David, and he goes, "Oh, for this track, I want you to stand sideways and tilt your chest towards the microphone." And he did the track, and they're like, "Oh, that sounded amazing." It's like, "Oh, was that to open up my chest and do all that?" He goes, "No, because you sat behind the drums for Atreyu for years and you sung sideways, and I wanted you to relive that position to get that tone out of you again." And they're like, "Oh, you beautiful bastard, you magic man!" Like,
I'm sure he said something else, but yeah,
oh yeah,
that's
yeah,
David, man. The man is crazy. He
yeah.
he actually knows what he's talking about, and he gets a way to transport it to the student. That's very rare. He's a very, very good coach. I mean, the lessons are pricey, but
Mm.
they're worth every dollar, man. I promise. If
Well,
you ever have any problems with your voice, go talk to David James Benitez of Extreme Vocal Institute. Tell him Dom said hi.
yeah, yeah. We'll clip this out. We'll make it a YouTube short. Maybe we'll give discount lessons to me. So we'll see. We'll see. But it's one of those things. If you're good at something, you don't do it for free. And if he was too cheap, no one would ever be able to get a one-on-one lesson with him. So you kind of have to set a price to kind of, you know, go, okay, if you're serious and putting this money forward, you must know it's great. Because if he was doing it for $50, you'd have every Tom, Dick, and Harry who doesn't really give a shit and just wants to learn how to go bleh one day, try and do a lesson. You know what I mean? So you kind of I understand. I understand at the end of the day, even though my wallet doesn't.
Quality is pricey.
That's it. That's it. Well, Dom, this meeting is going to kick us out in 2 minutes' time. It's been great talking to you once again. You are fantastic. I
Well,
cannot wait to see you at Wacken. I'm glad that kind of timed out where, like I said, we've got the mortgage coming in. I'm like, we could probably squeeze in one more trip to Germany before it takes 3 years to save up for it again. So very, very happy to see you guys playing there again. Is there anything you wanted to say to the people out there watching this? Because I know you don't do a lot of interviews in English. It's kind of like the Jaimunji exclusive almost.
yeah, true. I mean, nobody's approaching me about them. If you want to interview me, just DM me. I am happy to sit down with you at like 11 p.m. my time and talk to you. No, thanks for having me. I do enjoy talking to people about the art I'm passionate about, but I rarely get to. So
Yeah.
thanks for having me again, and thanks for doing what you did, and thank you for putting us on number one for your top 10 records of 2024.
I had to, mate. Like it would have been, like I said before we started this interview. He's like, "Oh, I don't think you're number. I think you're number one. I think you're easily a number one." Like I said, I went through that thing over 2 weeks. I was like, "You guys never changed." Like Cypecore's here. Let's just shuffle everything else, and I'll probably shuffle those around afterwards. Going, yeah, I probably could have put Fit for an Autopsy higher or something like that. But at the end of the day, I'm very happy, and you deserve that number one spot. You did something really special, and this record did.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate that. I'll see you at Wacken, and to all you other lovely people, stay healthy, and maybe I'll see you at Wacken too.
Yeah,
Thanks for
yeah.
listening, and subscribe to Jaimunji. He's a
Yes.
great cat.
Thanks, Dom. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.